You can see different soldiers or different revolutionaries entering the Winter Palace.
There are 47.
How many?
47!
Cheers. You don't know how satisfying these little caps are, do you? How much is the ticket?
90 cents.
Okay. These are 16-story buildings. Imagine how colossal the job is.
God bless him.
Thank you very much.
I hope you're doing very well.
Thank you. I hope you're doing very well. Good morning once again from Brest Station here in Belarus. It's 6:05 in the morning, as you can see. And I have to catch the train to Minsk at 6:18. On platform 3B, I have about 3 hours ahead until Minsk. Let's see what the train is like. And of course, the goal of this video is to get to know Minsk a little better. I have a layover before my next destination and want to explore it with you since I've never been there. Let's go! Belarus is a landlocked Eastern European country. It borders Russia, north, east, Ukraine, south, and Poland, Lithuania, and Latvia, west, northwest. Belarus means White Russia, a name used since the Middle Ages and solidified in the Russian Empire. After independence, the country promotes Belarus to build its identity. The territory is mostly flat, featuring gentle hills, glaciers, plains, and marshes, but no mountains. Its highest point is Mount Dzerzhinskaya, with just 345 meters above sea level. Its area is about 207,000 square kilometers, similar to the United Kingdom, and a population of about 9 million people, of which around 84% are ethnic Belarusians, 8% Russians, 3% Poles, and a small percentage of Ukrainians and other minorities. Belarusian and Russian are official languages, but Russian is more commonly used in daily life and media. Belarus was part of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, then the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and later changed hands after Poland's partitions. It became part of the Russian Empire in the late 18th century. In the 20th century, after a brief attempt at independence in 1918, it became a Soviet Union republic. World War II was especially devastating. The country lost about a quarter of its population under Nazi occupation, and many of its cities were left destroyed. After the war, Belarus industrialized rapidly as part of the Soviet Union. In Minsk, factories like Minsk Automobile Plant, Belarusian Automobile Plant, and MTZ produced trucks, heavy machinery, and tractors exported across the Soviet bloc. Electronics, optics, chemical, and petrochemical industries were developed alongside major military production. Thus, Belarus became one of the Soviet Union's most industrialized and advanced republics. Belarus gained independence after its dissolution in 1991. 3 years later, Alexander Lukashenko was elected president and has remained in power ever since. Western media have often called his government Europe's last dictatorship, accusing him of non-transparent elections and excessive control. Among other things, Lukashenko has shared an anecdote that reflects his attitude toward the West. In the mid-1990s, George Soros visited Belarus and offered to fund educational reforms and the writing of new textbooks. Lukashenko declined the offer and openly said, "I am a Soviet man, we will write our own history." From then on, he cut ties with the Soros Foundation and set a course of rejecting Western influence on the international stage. Belarus once tried to balance between Russia and Europe, but over time, its ties with Moscow have only strengthened. Here is the train. Pretty modern, huh? It's only 3 hours. It's a regional train, so to speak. It's not the usual Plaskat where you can sleep. So just so you know, Belarus also has modern trains. Welcome to Minsk. My goodness, what a difference compared to Brest. This place is crowded. Maybe it's high season or there are many tourists, but look. You can tell we're in a big city. Wow. The first thing I saw as soon as I left the station were these huge buildings. And if you look up there, they still have the emblem of the Belarusian Soviet Republic. and then what looks like a partisan. Maybe a worker or scientist. Several statues are on the building's ledges, and the train station isn't far away either, right? It's more modern, but also huge. The first thing I have to do is check into a hotel. I'm going to ask here and see what the prices are like. But this one called Express, which is right next to the station, is perfect. The building is also quite Soviet, huh? Wow, it's impressive. Hello, is there no space?
Starting at 12, I have a standard room for one person for 80.
Okay.
Just you.
Yes, just me. And can I pay now or make a reservation?
I'll reserve the room for you.
All right, later. After 12, right?
Yes.
And can I leave the suitcase here?
I need your passport.
All right, first thing done. Glad they let me in, although not until 12, and now it's just 9:30 or 10. They did let me leave all the suitcases, so we're free. Now that the wait is off, next we're going to try a good Belarusian breakfast. I haven't eaten or had breakfast, and I came on the train with a twisted neck from sleeping. Right now I'm crossing the road underneath. These typical galleries, which you can also find in Moscow and in many Russian cities, we have them here in Minsk with flower shops, quite a few actually. I've seen 3 or 4 already, and here's another one. I thought the grandma was talking to me. Small coffee shops, the typical cell phone case stores. First impressions of Minsk, busy and very clean too, right? Take a look at this street with freshly laid asphalt, and there goes the trolley bus. I don't know if you can see it because I'm not going to film them right in the face, but I think back there behind me, I just saw something happen. 2 police officers were kindly accompanying what seemed to be a homeless person or a drunk who was probably here in the park. There he is at the crosswalk talking to him. I don't know, huh? It's just speculation, but it looked like the guy was drunk and the police were accompanying him. Maybe they're going to help him, huh? I'm just making this up, but well, who knows? Check out the breakfast spot I chose. It's not all about kebabs. Here in Belarus, I want to show you a typical breakfast. Well, I came to a cafe here, and I think they're going to give me what I'm looking for. And I wanted to show it to you because this little street looks a lot like the terraces you can find in Paris or Madrid. Well, here in Belarus, look. The only difference is the buildings on this street, which might be a bit lower, but still, they're very beautiful, restored, and clean. Here you have them, the amazing treat I'm about to have. Eggs Benedict with salmon, and I don't know what the sauce is. A high-class breakfast like this, just take a look. It even has rowan, well, red caviar. Today, we're having a gastronomic celebration. Cheers to you. Delicious? If you visit here and enjoy this type of breakfast, like this, with eggs and salmon and so on, totally recommend it. With this, you'll have enough energy to stop a train. It's like a toast, with eggs, salmon, some veggies, caviar, and the sauce. Boccato di cardinale, but don't think it's cheap. This dish alone, I think it's around 8 euros, 7-8 euros, I'd say, just estimating, for Belarus. These are prices that, well, for special occasions, okay, but they're above the norm. And in case the eggs Benedict weren't enough, here you go. I think it's the first time I've had Cerniki on the channel. Well, these are deluxe, they're premium. You can find them in any cafe, as breakfast, as dessert, whatever. Cheers. Really, really good, you can tell. This place is high-end, and the homemade jam is delicious. 10 out of 10. Thank you very much.
47.
47, here you go.
For the tea, it was 7?
Yes, I understand. Thanks for explaining.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Everything's fine like this?
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you. To burn off this calorie bomb I just ate, what better than to go for a walk? I've prepared a little itinerary here in Minsk, but before anything else, I want you to see what I just found. The huge Dynamo Minsk stadium. Let's move closer for a better look. From here, you can already see a mix between a modern soccer stadium and a Soviet-era soccer stadium. Like, for example, the Olympic rings with the red star. In the background stands a statue of 3 hurdle runners. That's how it seems. This stadium really reflects what Minsk means to me from my first impressions. A mix of its Soviet past that embraces modernity, and here you can see it perfectly mixed with this kind of dome, or whatever it's called, I don't know, of ceiling with modern lights. And then here, the Soviet reliefs and the entrances and the arches, still the Soviet-style architecture. Here you have the 3 runners, looking as focused as possible. Look, the door is open and they're taking down what seems to have been a festival here. This Olympic stadium in Minsk is huge, isn't it? There are very important person boxes and what seems to be a radio booth. Yeah, they've put on quite a festival here. Check out all the beer stands here. Look at all those beer taps. This whole festival section is for beer. The remains are still visible. Minsk also hosts huge festivals. Look what I just found by chance. For those of you who are fans of Soviet rock, here we have a memorial to Viktor Tsoi, the lead singer of the band. You can see various photos, pictures, portraits, and inscriptions. Vitya, Victor, you saved us. Why did you leave? If I remember correctly, I think he died in a car accident. And here in Minsk, they remember him. You knew it would be bad, but you didn't know it would be this soon. You knew everything was going to go wrong, but you didn't imagine it would be so soon. It was a surprise to find this memorial dedicated to Viktor Tsoi in front of the Dynamo Minsk Stadium, a true figure of Soviet rock. They probably put it here because he gave a concert at the stadium. Look here. On the back it says copies of Viktor Tsoi's drawings. I had never seen them before. These are some of the artists, the singers' drawings. Hello? Hello. This one, please.
Do you want to try it on?
No, that's my size.
Is it a gift?
No, it's for me, a gift for myself. How was the festival yesterday? Did they bother you a lot? I mean, there were a lot of people. Did you work?
We worked, a coworker worked.
It must have been fun.
Yes, it must have been. Well, I call it the beer party. It's not a festival, it's the beer party.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Goodbye.
See you later. I couldn't resist. And I bought myself last season's league champion celebration shirt, but it's really folkloric with the flag of Belarus. And then look at what it has down here, like some angels and the Virgin Mary. Great. Now I finally have the official outfit to visit Minsk. Look at what I just found. Totally unexpected. On the way to the first itinerary stop I planned, I saw what looks like a McDonald's. It says mac.by, the domain, right? From Belarusian internet, I know McDonald's left Russia and became Vkusnaya Tochka, but it seems it's also gone from Belarus. Instead of being called Vkusnaya Tochka, which is simple and delicious, it's now called Mac. I think this change ruins the modern signage, doesn't it? What about the Soviet-era reliefs? But let's get to it. Let's try the Soviet door to the Belarusian Mac. Nope. It's closed. I didn't know McDonald's announced it was leaving Belarus at the end of 2022. The restaurants didn't close, but were acquired by a local entity and renamed as Mac.bi, similar to what happened in Russia with Vkusnaya Tochka. This lets them maintain a similar look and menu as before without starting from scratch. That's why, if you go to one of these restaurants, you'll see that it looks a lot like an original McDonald's. This shows the country's isolation from the West due to the confrontation between the blocs, resulting in various sanctions. Belarus is now one of the 5 most sanctioned countries globally, facing about 2,000 sanctions, behind countries like Russia, Iran, North Korea, and Syria. These sanctions have especially increased since 2020 and 2022 and cover sectors such as finance and banking, which have been disconnected from the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication System. Fertilizers. Export embargoes have been placed on potash, a key export, as well as petroleum derivatives and manufactured goods. Belavia, the state airline, is banned from flying over or landing in European Union airspace. And hundreds of Belarusian officials, including the president, businessmen, and judges, are banned from traveling, and their assets abroad have been frozen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lenin Square. Here is the unmistakable, ever-present figure, seen across nearly all former Soviet republics. Forgive me, but here in Belarus, it couldn't be missing. This is the parliament, if I'm not mistaken. The rest of the square also has various administrative buildings, government offices, and universities, like this one here. Imagine studying in Lenin Square, or like it would be in Spain, in Puerta del Sol. Imagine if the universities were there. Hey, this really reminds me of Moscow, you know? Judge for yourselves and tell me if it looks like Moscow or not. This avenue is like being in a little Moscow. I've reached my first stop, just as I mentioned in the itinerary. It's none other than this impressive mosaic by Alexander Kishenko, a Soviet artist who specialized in this kind of art and has works scattered throughout Minsk. Several mosaics that I intend to visit with you. This one here, specifically, commemorates the October Revolution at the Winter Palace against the Tsars. As you can see, two well-built strong men are holding the sickle and hammer, and below, at their feet, you can see different soldiers or different revolutionaries entering the Winter Palace, encouraged by women with their children. This mosaic specifically was made in 1975 and is still present today. A true marvel, an open-air museum here. After so much walking, I've gotten a bit thirsty. Let's see if they have some kvass here. You know I like kvass. Well, let's take the opportunity and have a look around. The Belarusian supermarket isn't exactly a big hypermarket, but still. 2 kilos of flour cost €1. These things are always cheap here in Russia and Belarus, like buckwheat for under €1, but we're mainly interested in cold kvass. Is there a party over there, or are they bringing out the fish? Here you see the typical products: kefir, fresh milk, sour cream, and cottage cheese. Wow, they have all these beers. I'll try one later if I have time, but look at the alcohol. 6.4%. That's strong, huh? There's Zhiguli Zhigulovskaya. I know it. Another cherry-flavored beer. Damn. Still 6.4. They're strong too. People here really like beer, also in Belarus, just like in Russia. And the prices, a liter for just over €1. These bottles must be 3 liters, not 2 liters, about €1.70 or so. Here is kvass dark side, 1 liter, oh, a smaller one. Excuse me, are there small bottles of kvass? No, only large ones? Alright. You heard, they only have large ones, so I'll take this. Let's try Belarusian kvass for the first time. Hello? No need for a bag, how much is it?
$2.12.
Thank you, see you later. Well, since there's no small kvass, a liter of kvass it is. What can you do? At least it's nice and cold. Cheers. Well, you can't imagine how nice these little caps are, huh? They don't get in the way here? Alright. That's good. Highly recommended. Pretty bitter, not sweet at all, but I prefer it this way. Here you can see, you always ask me, what is that you're drinking? Kvass, look. It's a drink made from fermented grains without alcohol, specifically from bread, usually rye. Delicious. Hey, well, look, okay? Between the festival yesterday at the stadium and what looks like a triathlon event here, it seems that Minsk is pretty active, it's full of life. That's the Palace of Sports, another Soviet building. And over there in the background, I don't know if the camera can catch it. A giant mega neighborhood of apartment buildings. How many families could live there? Look how far it goes. It's a whole block, and I can't see behind it. Those are some tall buildings, huh? Before heading to the next mosaic, I stopped at another place, which shows that contrast between the modern world or modernity and Soviet times. Here in Minsk, it's none other than this Kentucky Fried Chicken, a fast food restaurant with a relief sculpted in the rock from Soviet times. Impressive. There you can see the theme. The woman holding a child, the rifles, the soldiers, all the people moving forward with determination, with their hand on their chest. There's another one with a raised fist and an inscription that says Solidarity, and below it, the fast food restaurant's logo. This relief is on the Avenue of the Victors, so I assume it's dedicated to the Great Patriotic War victors. Another thing that couldn't be missing in a city like Minsk is an official government memorial to the fallen and the heroes of the Great Patriotic War, World War II. Just like we saw in Brest, Minsk was declared a hero city. It belongs to that select group of 12 cities that were declared hero cities in the Soviet Union for their defense against the Nazi invasion. And here we have the monument that stands right before the entrance to the National Museum of the Great Patriotic War. What looks like the Statue of Victory, a huge obelisk crowned by a golden star and laurel. In the background, the Soviet Union flag waves atop the museum's glass dome. You can see how people still pay tribute by leaving flowers here, and again, what I explained to you about when there are flowers. Even numbers in honor of the memory of the fallen or the deceased. The inscription below the giant obelisk shows the Order of Lenin on the left and the star, marking it as a hero city. And here is what it says on the plaque. In summary, it commemorates the 30 years since the liberation from the Nazi Germans and declares it as a hero city. To Minsk on June 26, 1974, by order of the Presidential Duma of the Supreme Council of the Soviet Union in Moscow, in the Kremlin. Without a doubt, the countries, at least the ones I have visited so far, are the ones that remember the most to this day. The feats and the countries that most praise this heroic behavior of defense against the invader are Russia and Belarus. Here you have all the reliefs with soldiers fighting, fallen soldiers, the woman and the child. The partisans, also very important here in Belarus, played a decisive role in the war. The Kremlin and the Red Square Parade. Behind me is the museum dedicated to the Great Patriotic War, as I mentioned earlier.
Hello.
To get to the next point, to the next mosaic, we have to take the metro. There it is. So let's go. Minsk Metro Niamika station. Well, not Estancia station. I'm really curious to see what the Minsk Metro is like. It's a new metro, so to speak. It's newer than the one in Moscow. It's just over 30 years old, if I'm not mistaken. There are only 3 lines, it's not very big. The Minsk Metro is a key symbol of Belarus's capital. Opened in 1984, it was the 9th metro system in the former Soviet Union. Since then, it has become the city's primary rapid urban transport. Renowned for cleanliness and efficiency, its original design provided both mass transportation and a deep air raid shelter during nuclear conflict. As I mentioned, the system has 3 lines made up of 36 stations that cover about 40 kilometers beneath the capital. It carries hundreds of thousands daily and is known as one of Eastern Europe's cleanest, most efficient subways. Many of its stations clearly exemplify late Soviet architectural style. They are built with durable materials like marble and granite and decorated with elements of socialist realism.
Hello, how does it work?
I want to get to Partizanskaya and then to...
I bought a token. With a travel token, you can go wherever you want.
Very well, then give me a token. I only have 100 rubles. How much does the ticket cost?
90 cents.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, here you have it. A token, 90 kopecks, which is about 30 cents. I paid him with 30 euros, 30 cents. Here you have the turnstiles, the gates. Let's go. That's it, although, well, they're open, as you can see. This wouldn't work in any country in Spain or any American country. It's not very successful. Welcome to the Minsk Proletarskaya Metro, Platform 2. As you can see, it's a simple station, but the marble touch, like most Soviet metro systems, sets it apart. Well, very solemn. And this here, I don't know what it is that's decorating the station platform. It looks like it's a ship. The signs still aren't in English, just like the old Moscow Metro. You either understand Cyrillic or you're lost. The only thing that's in both languages, in Belarusian and in Russian, as you can see, but nothing in English. This counter is just like the one in the Moscow Metro. There's your standard and frequency. We've already been waiting for 5 minutes. There's really nothing like the Moscow Metro, but well, it's Sunday, right? We'll cut them some slack too. I've decided to stop now at Proletarskaya station in honor of the proletarians. And here you have a statue, well, of a proletarian, a factory worker with a helmet, work clothes, and boots. And here you have Proletarskaya.
Partizanskaya station.
We've arrived at Partizanskaya station, the Partisans station. I'm not sure what kind of stone this is, but they all look like precious stones, don't they? They may be simple, but they're nicely decorated. Well, the classic Soviet letters as much as possible. The typography is brutal. I don't know if you've noticed how much the Minsk metro looks like the one in Moscow. These are the classic Soviet train cars par excellence, which were mass-produced throughout the Soviet Union, and here you can see them remodeled. But anyway, the chassis, the engine, and everything else are practically all original. The next mosaic on Alexander Kishenko's list that I want to show you is located near the tourist hotel. The tourist hotel, which is also a hotel from Soviet times. As you can see, it's tall. I'm not sure, but it might have about 15 floors. Here it is. Spectacular. Oh my goodness. Commissioned in the mid-70s, this mosaic depicts the partisan struggle, which is why the metro station is named Partizanskaya. We can see an elderly man, a woman and her son, and a middle-aged man or a young man. They represent the whole range of ages and different types of people who took part in the partisan movement. Behind enemy lines, in territory occupied by the German Nazis, and which is given a lot of importance here in Belarus. The indiscriminate massacres are well known. When you're in a war where all the civilians appear to be civilians who cooperate and then are sabotaging your army and causing very serious casualties. Well then, that caused a lot of hatred among the German ranks, didn't it? Toward these people, toward those who collaborated with the Soviet Union, devastating entire villages. If you're interested, there's a movie about it, though it's quite harsh. I'm letting you know in advance that it's called Come and See. This movie depicts exactly what I'm telling you about. It's about the hunting and massacres that were carried out against the Belarusian people by the Nazis. According to what I've read, they also had to restore this mosaic because it lost its color. If you pay attention, you'll see there are grid-like shadows. It was restored in the late 90s after becoming nearly invisible. The condition was catastrophic, so they restored it and gave the task to the artist. It was the last work he did before he passed away. In fact, he passed away just after setting up the scaffolding and giving the instructions on how to restore it, but he never saw it restored. I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but the tesserae are tiny.
How many could there be?
Thank you. Look at the station I found, Oktyabrskaya, from the October Revolution. Beautiful columns with lamps up high, and here a relief. For 5 years, glory to the Congress, the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. I need to check it. I don't know what it is. Then SSR, Soviet Union, Communism, World Peace, and Friendship of Nations or Peoples. That's what it says. And then a satellite, huh? There. And here, on the other side from where the satellite was, some stalks of grain that look like wheat and some factory chimneys. And at the other end of the platform, do you see another relief? Well, here I read Lenin, we will build the new world. The party is intelligence, pride, honor, the conscience of our era. And you can see next to Lenin, 1917, all power to the Soviets, peace for the peoples, and land for the peasants. Without a doubt, of all the works that Alexander Kishenko was commissioned to do in the form of mosaics in the city of Minsk, these are the largest and the most impressive. Like this one I have here behind me, there are a total of 4 works, each with a different theme. This one I have here behind me is titled The City of Science. And you can see different scientific figures, designers, researchers, explorers, and up there at the very top, a Soviet cosmonaut, like a handshake. Of all the mosaics I've seen in my travels, this one stands out without a doubt. And I still have 3 more to see around the neighborhood, the most impressive one I've ever seen. Absolutely. These are 16-story buildings. Imagine the scale of the work. But look at the size of the tiles. I'm going to get closer. Well, tiles, little stones, you know? They're finger-sized, and this fills up to the 16th floor. Let's check out the other 3. The other 3 mosaics are titled The City of Culture, The City of Construction, or The Builders and the City of War. If you pay attention, and from what I've read, this was common for the artists, the images depicted evoke Orthodox icons. What happens is that, of course, well, without the golden halo, right? Which recognizes or names them as saints. Here, if I'm correct, it's the one from the City of Culture. You can see the same thing. Another circle, like Da Vinci's, resembling a church altarpiece. It's often shown this way. We've already seen in other videos a woman with her child, which was a veiled way of representing the Virgin Mary with Jesus Christ. But subtly, since practicing Christianity or any faith was forbidden in the Soviet Union, as you know. By the way, next to these mosaics, there's another building. Which is crazy. It looks like the headquarters, right? Of a movie villain. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's the National Library. No more and no less, the National Library of Belarus. Well, it looks like I was wrong. The other we saw earlier was about the war. This is the City of Culture, where you can see traditional dances, drawings, and sculptures. Here you can clearly see that this is the one about culture, and they all follow the same pattern if you notice. The image of the mother and child, then 4 large images on their sides, and a smaller representation. And here, in this case, you can't see it because of the tree. It's a shame that it's cheers. It's a shame you can't see it because of the tree, but I'm grateful that at least it's still preserved to this day. These mosaics are almost half a century old now. This can truly be considered pure Soviet-style street art. Back there is another more modern mural. It's clearly not a mosaic, but compare them. There's really no comparison. This is marvelous. You can better appreciate the entire micro-district from the sidewalk across the street. Micro-district built in the 70s, a conglomerate of residential buildings. Not just these 16-story high-rises, but also those long, elongated ones. And there you have the 4 mosaics on the buildings, arranged vertically, even more vertical, and the 4th and final one of this series of 4 mosaics. This one is definitely about war. As you can see, it's unmistakable. You can see the soldiers with the red star, also with rifles, bayonets, and helmets. Again, the same image of the mother with the child. Also different scenes, well, children and women giving flowers to the soldiers and saying goodbye, also farewell images. And down here, some hands holding a sprout, right? That is starting to grow. And the city, it wouldn't let me see the trees. It looks like a farmer harvesting grain or fruit. Very interesting.
Hello!
How much does the bouquet cost?
5.
5?
Yes.
Good.
You can take 2, you can take 2.
One is enough, one is enough.
1 then.
Can these be violets?
Yes, but that bouquet costs 8.
Alright, then 8.
Yes.
Very good.
It's bigger, that's why.
Alright, here go 5. 1 second, here are 9. Ready.
May God reward you.
Thank you very much.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you, I wish you well. Do you already see the grandmothers selling here in this underground corridor at the metro exit? Look, what a beautiful bouquet of flowers she must have picked. Now, of course, I need to give it to someone. Well, if my wife sees this, they're for you. In case you are wondering why those grandmothers were selling flowers on the street, here in Russia, Belarus, and other former Soviet countries, especially those near Europe, the tradition seems stronger than in Central Asia, at least from my impression. Men still give a lot of flowers to women on Women's Day, on birthdays, and on wedding anniversaries. Well, on any occasion, even if he got drunk and messed up the day before, it's the way to apologize. There are also flowers, though the best ones, as the girls I know, mainly Russians and Belarusians, usually say. It's when they don't expect it. So now you know if anyone here is interested in flirting, take note of this detail. Chivalrous. Well, and on this mosaic walk, I couldn't leave out one that I discovered, and that's quite hidden. It's in a factory, I think, a meat factory or, well, a food factory or something like that, an old factory. And look, who do we have here? None other than Vladimir Lenin in a mosaic. Here it looks like he's greeting the workers who are coming in. And I think we can wrap up this whole mosaic tour here. And let's wrap up the video since I'm a bit tired. Yeah, this video has really gone a long way. What better way to end the video than by treating ourselves here in Minsk just like we started? A culinary treat with a beer at a karaoke. Not many people are here now, but this place is usually packed on weekends. A common spot to drink beer, socialize, and enjoy live music. Look at the waiter, how nice. He gave me a vase here to put the flowers in. He noticed I looked lonely and said, "Here, at least put them in water." That was it. I've probably said this a few times in the video, but cheers to you, Belarusian craft beer from here. To go with the beer, I ordered a cold soup with kefir. I've tried this before, it's made with beetroot. I had it in Lithuania last year. It's delicious, especially with roasted potatoes or French fries. And to finish, some game sausages that they say are made from game meat. Here you have them. Well, I don't know if you heard me before, but that dish was called okroshka, which is like a cold soup made with kefir. It had egg, chives, beetroot, fried potatoes on the side. Very tasty. It's kind of like a local version of gazpacho. To your health, as always. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Oh.
What a great goal!
Wait.
Shoot a few in succession.
3 months.
Yes, 3 months.
We are moving now to other houses.